Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I am back to do another subscriber requested video. So I was recently asked to talk about all of my different signature scents over the years and to talk about when, like at what point in my life I wore them. So these are some of my most favorite perfume videos to do, to talk about like my fragrance journey and just all of the different perfumes that I've worn in my life. I definitely don't have all of them here. I will, as we're going through like each time period, if there are other perfumes that I used to wear that I don't have, I will definitely tell you. But anyways, I'm gonna get started. I've got a ton here. I'm gonna start with the perfumes that I used to wear as a child. So I started wearing perfume regularly when I was probably 8 or 9. That's when I had my own, and I've always had like a small collection of perfumes. There are very few times in my life that I've only had like 1 or 2, though there are times that I've only had 1 or 2, but for the most part, I'm somebody who's always had, and as a little kid, gosh, I had probably 10 perfumes in my collection. I was such a crazy person. I was that kid that like, anytime we went to the drugstore, I went to the perfume section first and I would beg to get a new perfume. So I had a little collection. But anyways, I'm gonna start with some of the perfumes that I wore as a child, some of my earliest, well, these are the earliest perfumes I had. So we're gonna start with Cody Exclamation. I absolutely adored this scent. I thought that this was the coolest perfume. I thought the bottle was just, I mean, it was the 80s. I thought the bottle was just so cool. I felt like such a grown-up when I wore this perfume. And I was probably 8 or 9 years old, but I loved it. I thought it smelled so like, I don't know, I thought that this perfume just smelled so sophisticated, and I don't know, that I just smelled so grown up. So yeah, I always had Exclamation in my collection. I probably stopped wearing this maybe around like 12 or 13 years old. I don't know, I had Exclamation in my collection for a long time. This new formulation, it's a shadow of the original. I still like it though because I can still smell the original in there. So I love it. I keep it just for nostalgic purposes, and yeah, that is one of the first perfumes that I wore. I will tell you, I think my very first perfume that my mom bought me a whole bottle of, it was my first perfume. I used to wear it to death. I loved it so much, was Debbie Gibson Electric Youth. You can still find bottles of that on eBay and stuff, but I just don't trust that I'm gonna get something that's not completely off and disgusting. So and it's quite expensive, so I've just never picked up a bottle of it. But I had the pen spray of it, and as well as like one of the square bottles. I had both. That's the first perfume that I remember. That was a perfume that was mine, that wasn't my mom's. I also had Malibu Musk in the spray can. I went through cans of it. I loved it. It was one of my favorite scents ever. So those are 2 perfumes that should be in here that were in my collection at that time that I just don't have. I can't find Malibu Musk anywhere. Okay, another one that I had was Samba. Samba back then was in a purple bottle, kind of like a cool toned purple bottle, and the band around the neck was pink back then. This is the new formulation. I absolutely adored this scent. This is another perfume that when I wore this, I felt like a teenager. Sadly, I was one of those little girls that could not wait to grow up. I just wanted to be a teenager so bad. If I could go back, I would have cherished my childhood if I could go back, especially back then while things were semi-good. I love this scent. I still love this, and in fact, I wore this I wore this like as my scent of the day. It's been a couple of years ago now, but yeah, and I really enjoyed it. Again, this is like a shadow of the original. It's just not very good anymore, but it does still smell good. This one's kind of like a very slightly fruity floral, I guess is, I don't even know how to explain this one, but yeah, it's a little bit sweet. It's bright, crisp, kind of citrusy, a little bit perfumey. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It smelled amazing though. The original formulation of this smelled incredible in the 80s. I absolutely loved it. This might be one of the first perfumes that I quit wearing though. Like as I grew up, I think Samba kind of fell by the wayside, especially after, I'm gonna talk about another one in here that as soon as I got it, I was, oh my gosh, I was head over heels. Okay, another perfume that I wore that I had in my collection at that time is this one here from Revlon. This is Charlie White. This is a bottle of the original formulation. It is completely off at this point. I need to go ahead and pick up a bottle of the new formulation, which, yeah, this is completely off. It smells like expired alcohol is what it smells like. I do think though that once this kind of starts to dry down, that I'll be able to smell the, you know, kind of get a feel for what the perfume smells like, because I almost don't even remember. No, it smells like weird green expired alcohol. It's very strange, but I remember loving Charlie White. This was my favorite out of all of them. I'll tell you a perfume that I really didn't like was Navy. I don't even remember what Navy smells like. You can still get it though, so I'm really tempted to pick it up. But yeah, Charlie White was my jam. I loved it. And then this next perfume, I only have a carded sample because they just re-released this. I was obsessed with this perfume and I went through bottles of this. Bottles. This is a fragrance from the United Colors of Benetton, which is now called United Colors and Prestige Beauty, but back then it was called United Colors of Benetton, and this is called Tribute. When I saw that they re-released this, I like screamed. The bottle was so awesome. It was yellow, and then this in here is red, and it had a red cap, and this is kind of like a cutout. So it was just a very cool like bottle, but this perfume, I was obsessed with it. It was one of those perfumes that like the first time I smelled it, I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? I've never smelled anything like that before. And I was obsessed. Oh, I just got it on me. Oh my gosh, I still love this. I still love this. I need to pick up a full bottle of this because this is still so good. Oh my gosh. Oh, let me look up what the notes are in this because this is like whatever is the reformulated version, and it still smells so good. I still love this to this day. I need to pick up a bottle. It's taking me straight back to my childhood. Okay, so this came out when I was 12, 13. So that's what I'm saying. Like when Tribute came out, that's when like Exclamation, Samba, Charlie White, they all kind of fell by the wayside. It was around that time that my mom was wearing a perfume called Le Fleur as well, which I loved, and I would steal that from her too. Okay, so this one is, let's see here. Italian violet leaf and Italian mandarin, along with Belgian black currant in the top, Bulgarian rose, geranium and jasmine from Morocco, Indonesian ylang-ylang and Egyptian chamomile in the heart, and Indian sandalwood, Haitian vetiver, oak moss from Yugoslavia, and Thai benzoin in the base. This is so unique. To this day, I've still never smelled anything that smells quite like Tribute. When I tell you I was obsessed with this perfume, I mean, that is like, it's an understatement. I was obsessed with this perfume. Yeah, you can get a bottle of this for, I think you can get this on FragranceNet, but you can get a bottle of this on eBay for like 20 bucks. I have to have a bottle. It is so good. It's so good. I had good taste back then. I think I still have pretty good taste in perfume, but people say it smells like a fragrance from Burberry called Society, which I've never heard of. Yeah, there's just nothing else like it. I've never smelled anything else quite like it. It's incredible. So anyways, that was the fragrance that kind of like ended me wearing all my childhood fragrances, because I was obsessed with this and I still think this smells incredible. I'm gonna leave this out and I'm gonna give this a wear test. I only have about half the sample left, and I'll update you on what I wore last week video to see, because I probably need to test it on skin before I buy a whole bottle of it. I also picked up the new release, or the new reformulated release of Sun, Moon, and Stars, which is also not by Karl Lagerfeld anymore. I don't know who makes it now. Could be the same brand or company, I'm not sure. It's also like, okay, it smells like it, but it's not nearly what it used to be. Okay, so those are kind of my childhood fragrances. I probably wore Tribute for 2 years. So if it came out when I was like 12, 13, I think I was about 12 when it came out. So if I was 12 when it came out, I probably wore Tribute as a signature until I was maybe 15 or so. And then I think it was around that time, I think I was like 15 or 16 when I started wearing this here. This is Polo Sport for women. Sadly, or Polo Sport woman, I should say. Sadly, this bottle is completely off. Yeah, this is completely off, but I can still smell it in there. This isn't like the Charlie White where it smells like expired funky green alcohol. This smell, I'm still, I don't know, it's weird. I still get a lot of the citruses. This is one I remember that once this dries down, once it dries down, it's gonna smell like it'll smell right. It took me forever to find a bottle of this, and I knew I wouldn't wear it. I don't have good memories associated with that time in my life. Yeah, with any of like, well, since I was about from 12 to like 22, I don't have many good memories, but, and this perfume is associated with so much of that I would never wear this because I don't want to conjure any of that up, but it's so nostalgic. It just takes me back. It takes me back. Now that it's dried down, it smells right. I was one of those people that as soon as they started releasing aquatic perfumes, I just like gravitated towards them. I do not know why. That is not my personality at all, but of course, who has the same personality of when they were a teenager? Not many people, so it's not me at all. I would never wear perfumes like this these days. This is, I don't even know what Polo Sport Woman is. Let me look it up because I couldn't even tell you. It's very bright, very citrusy. It smells like it's got grapefruit in it. It's got aldehydes in it. So this is melon, wait, hold on. Yeah, it smells perfect on the strip now. And it would probably smell perfect on skin too, once it dried down. So it's almost like it's just missing all the top notes. But once you get to like the middle and dry down, it's fine. So this is aldehydes, lemon, mint, and melon. Melon was so big back then. All of these like sporty aquatic fragrances had melon. Let's see here. Violet rose, freesia, cyclamen. Sorry, I think it's, the middle notes are violet, rose, freesia, and cyclamen. And the base notes are sandalwood, patchouli, amber, and styrax. This came out in 1997, so yeah, so I was 16 or 17 when I started wearing this. So there's something in between Tribute and this. I couldn't tell you though. Actually, Fire and Ice. I've got Fire and Ice. I used to wear that as well. I don't know why I didn't pull that out for this video. I should have. I've got an original bottle of Fire and Ice. Yeah, I think that's what I wore. So this is what I was wearing in between. Yeah, this came out in 1994. So I knew there was a perfume that I quit wearing Tribute like after a couple of years. So that is perfect timing because I remember when this came out. I also remember the Revlon Outrageous shampoo that smelled exactly like the perfume, and I would pair it all together and I just smelled like this. So probably from about the ages from 14 to 16 is when I wore Fire and Ice. I'm glad that I did not forget about it. Fire and Ice are tangerine, orange blossom, and osmanthus. Middle notes are orchid, tuberose, magnolia, and narcissus. Base notes are amber, incense, musk, and woodsy notes. I love this. This is the original formulation. I found a bottle on eBay years ago. It's a dabber style, and it still smells incredible. It still smells amazing. Like, this perfume is still perfect. I have no idea when this bottle is from. It's old though. I mean, you can see it's the original formulation. It's a dabber style. And it still smells amazing. Like, you would never know that this is from the 90s. I have no way of looking it up because there's like nothing on the bottle. There are no numbers, nothing. Oh my gosh, it smells so good though, still to this day. I need to pick up a bottle of the new formulation to see it, like if it's been butchered, if it's still close. I don't even know, but yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot Fire and Ice. So this is what I wore between Tribute and Polo Sport. And I loved it. And again, I would layer it. I would wash my hair with the Outrageous shampoo, and then I would put this perfume on, and it was amazing. So I'm sorry I got out of order, but that's Fire and Ice. Okay, and then after Polo Sport, after Polo Sport is when I started wearing Cool Water. I'm pretty sure these were very close in there. So like one right after the other. So I can't remember, did Cool Water come out first or did Polo Sport Woman? I'm about to find out. This came out first. I'm sorry. So I wore Cool Water before Polo Sport. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm like jumping all over the place. So this came out in 1996. I do remember only wearing this I didn't wear it as a signature for a super long time. I think I only went through maybe a bottle or two of this. So I probably did only wear it for a year, from 96 to 97, and then that's when I started wearing Polo Sport. Okay, so Cool Water is, top notes are citrus, honeydew melon, quince, pineapple, lotus, and lily. Heart notes are May Rose, jasmine, and muguet. Base notes are musk, vanilla, peach, sandalwood, orris, and vetiver. It's so funny because this is a perfume that I would have never worn. Like, modern me would never read that note breakdown and wear a perfume like this. But of course I didn't know what was in perfumes back then. I would just go into the department store and sniff stuff and then buy it. I had no idea what I was wearing. I still love Cool Water to this day though. I think that this is an absolutely gorgeous fragrance. It still smells amazing. It is still an absolute beast of a perfume. I don't wear this much because, again, like the Ralph Lauren Polo Sport, it's just not associated with a good time for me. So I typically don't wear these perfumes, but this smells amazing. It still smells modern. This is a perfume that could be somebody's signature to this day, and you would smell incredible. It's so clean. It's got a sweetness to it though because of that. Did I say osmanthus? It's got osmanthus and peach in it. So there's a beautiful sweet fruitiness to it, but it's still like clean and aquatic smelling, and it's got pineapple. I love this. I still love this. I think it's amazing. So I definitely had good taste in perfume, I think, for being like a kid and a teenager. So anyways, that is David Off Cool Water for women. So good. Okay, and then right after I graduated high school, or maybe No, I think it was when I was in my senior year. Well, yeah, I think in my senior year of high school. Let me see. Yeah. Tommy Girl came out in 1996, but I think I started wearing this in 1997 or 1998. So Cool Water I only wore for like roughly a year. Polo Sport I only wore for I think roughly a year, maybe a little bit longer. And then Tommy Girl came in and I started wearing Tommy Girl. And I wore this perfume for years. I went through bottles of Tommy Girl. I probably wore Tommy Girl for pretty much exclusively for about 4 years. I wore Tommy Girl forever. My bottle, it still smells good, but I do think that mine is a little bit off. Yeah, my bottle is off, but like the Polo Sport, once it's just the top notes are gone, once it completely dries down, it smells right. I love Tommy Girl. I still love Tommy Girl to this day. In fact, I need to pick up a new bottle of this as well, because this is a fragrance that I would definitely still wear. It's so pretty. So Tommy Girl, this is the first like really fruity perfume that I ever wore. And I still love this to this day. So Tommy Girl is apple tree blossom, mandarin orange, camellia, black currant, lemon, honeysuckle, grapefruit, rose, lily, mint, and violet, magnolia, jasmine, cedar, sandalwood, and leather. Who knew this had leather in it? I would have never known, and it's funny because I do not like leather in perfume. So the fact that I wore a perfume for probably 4 years that has leather in it is crazy. I love Tommy Girl. I think this smells incredible even still today. This is another one that has completely stood the test of time. It still smells modern. You aren't gonna smell dated. I love this scent. This is another one that the memories associated with it aren't great, but they're a little bit better than like Cool Water and Polo Sport. But I still love this. I think it's such an incredible scent. I haven't smelled this on anybody for so many years, but it's a good one. This is, I wore this perfume for probably longer than anything else on this list. I wore this for a good 4 years. So anyways, that is Tommy Girl. Okay, and then in between when I wore Tommy Girl, I never bought a bottle of this back then. I think this bottle right here is from 2002. My mom and I bought this when I moved out here to South Carolina. And I never had a bottle of this, but when I worked at the department store it was called the Bon Marché back then. It's Macy's now. But when I worked at the department store, and every time that I would go into work, I would go to the perfume counter and spray this on. So I don't want to say it's a signature, but it's been a big part of my perfume life. And this is DKNY Woman. I still adore this perfume. This is really, really bright tart citrus and a really, really green tomato leaf note. The tomato leaf is the most prominent note in this perfume. Like I said, this is the original bottle that my mom and I bought. Actually, I think my mom bought it when I moved out here in 2002. So this bottle is from 2002 and I still love this to this day. This still smells amazing. This is not off. It's still perfect. And yeah, I wore this on and off, as well as the Origins Ginger fragrance, which that's really what I was wearing more than anything. Between, I would say maybe for the first year that I was here in South Carolina from 2002 to 2003, I was mostly wearing this and the Origins Ginger perfume because I would get that in a set at Macy's and I would buy the perfume and the body souffle and I would layer it and I loved it. So yeah, that's what I was wearing from about 2002 to 2003. Then 2003 came and that's when I ordered my first bottle of Stella. I think I ordered it I think actually I ordered my second bottle. I think my mom and I had to drive up to Charlotte, to South Park Mall, which is the only place that they had a Sephora back then. And I bought my first bottle of Stella McCartney. I remember seeing this in a magazine, or I should say smelling it in a magazine in, you know, one of those perfume strips. I smelled it in a magazine before it came out, and as soon as they released this, I drove all the way up to Charlotte to pick up a bottle of this because I was obsessed. And I have been ever since. Actually, this is probably my longest worn signature. I wore this on and off from 2003 to about 2008. Wait, no, 2003 to about 2009 is how long I wore Stella, on and off. I've been through bottles of it. We're gonna talk about a couple other perfumes that kind of came in here and there, but this, I don't know, yeah, this is my longest worn signature ever. I've had it in my collection since 2003. I love it. It's still to this day my favorite rose fragrance. I don't think that it can be topped. I don't think that there's anything else that really smells like it. It's incredible. And hopefully one of these days Stella McCartney will bring back the perfumes because they're so good and there's nothing like Stella. So anyways, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this perfume because I talk about it all of the time because I have loved it for so long. And it is, yeah, it's definitely my longest worn signature. Okay, and then in between, I've got 4 perfumes that I wore when I would just want a change from Stella for a while. The first one that I picked up a bottle of this from Marshall's, I believe, and I would wear this kind of interchangeably with Stella. So we're starting to get into, we're not quite into like collection, well, I've always had like a collection of perfumes, but I wore Stella exclusively for, I don't know, a few years, but I always had other perfumes. And one of the other perfumes that I wore, and this is also when I kind of started wearing perfumes seasonally. I wasn't completely there yet. I would still just kind of wear everything all the time. But this is a fragrance that I particularly loved in the cold weather. And I would wear Stella 24/7, 365 days a year. Burberry, I picked up a bottle of this at Marshall's though, and it was the winter time, and I absolutely loved how this smelled. To me, this smells like a warm, fuzzy sweater. This has got, it's funny because it's got peach in it, and I really, really don't like peach, but there's something about this perfume and the way that it's blended, and the peach in this doesn't smell, it doesn't really smell like peach. It's not like a syrupy peach. This is a really beautiful, warm, kind of slightly syrupy. It's really fuzzy, and I just love it. I just love the way this scent smells. Now, this is a bottle of the original formulation. I had to track this down on eBay because the first time I smelled the new formulation of this, I felt like it had too much peach in it. Now, somebody sent me a bottle of the new formulation though, and when I smelled it, it doesn't smell to me like the original formulation, but the peach wasn't sickening in it the way that it was when I got a carded sample of it. So I'm not sure. I need to pull out the new formulation. I don't know that I've even worn that one yet. But anyways, I loved this one. My mom and I were traveling a lot. Like, we always traveled a lot together, and I remember taking this on trips with me, like when we would travel in the wintertime, because this to me was like wearing a warm hug. This is like a warm sweater is what it smells like to me. So I would wear this one as well as Stella. And then when I kind of got tired of Burberry, I picked up this one. This is Philosophy Falling in Love. This is another one this is the original formulation, this bottle here. So this is just like the bottle that I had. It was another like Marshall's find. Actually, no. It wasn't a Marshall's find. This is one that for whatever reason, I saw this and I became like fixated with it. So I actually think I picked up a bottle off of eBay way back then. And I love this. This is like sparkling berries. This is tart sparkling berries. It's clean. It's a little bit sweet. I had never smelled another berry perfume quite like this, and I just became obsessed with it. This is one, it's funny because again, it was kind of seasonal. I would wear this one in the hot weather. I didn't wear it in the cold weather very often. This is one that I had like in my collection, but I would really only wear this in the hot weather. I loved it. I still love it to this day. It's beautiful. I still love it and I still wear it to this day. I just think it's such a stunning fragrance. So this was in my kind of rotation at the time. I would say during this time period, Stella was still my like ride or die signature, but these are all fragrances that I was kind of rotating in and out, wearing here and there at the same time. Okay, and then this next one, this is also kind of a hot weather one that I was rotating in and out. I remember just smelling this randomly at Sephora and I absolutely loved it. Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue was like all the rage at that time, but I felt like this kind of smelled like Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, but I felt like this one was way better, and I still feel like that to this day. This is Moschino I Love, and yeah, I remember driving up to Sephora. My mom and I went up to South Park Mall just to kind of poke around, and I went into Sephora and I just smelled this and I fell in love with it, and I picked up a bottle like right then, and I have pretty much had a bottle of this in my collection since then. There were a few years in there that I didn't have it, but I will never be without this perfume again. This perfume to me is perfection. Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue cannot hold a candle to I Love. This is, it's just so much better, and it's just so beautiful. This is like bright, fizzy orange soda, and it's got some kind of rose or something. I can't remember what kind of a flower is in the middle. It's quite an interesting note breakdown, but it's so good. So anyways, I wore that one as well. And then kind of all in that same time frame is when Britney Spears' Fantasy came out, just the original one. This is Stage Edition, but this is the original formulation. So I grabbed this one. This is one that this is one that truly was a kind of, I would just wear it whenever I felt like smelling more fun than Stella, because Stella back then especially, I was so young. I had a very like grown-up smelling signature scent, so I went through phases where I was like, I want to smell really young, and I'd never really smelled anything like Fantasy before, so I was just kind of enamored with Fantasy for a while, and I would wear this, you know, on and off. I loved it. I think I bought a bottle of it from like Walmart or something, and I really loved it. So if I was like going out or, you know, gonna hang out with friends or something like that, I would put on Fantasy. I still love this scent to this day. I just wore it last week, and it brings me a lot of joy. So anyways, that is Britney Spears' Fantasy. And then these next two, again, I was still wearing Stella as my ride or die, but these next two I also kind of wore these interchangeably. Right around the time that Calvin Klein Euphoria came out, I worked with a girl at Starbucks, and I think this was in 2007 maybe, I think about. She wore this scent, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are you wearing? That reminds me of my mom when she used to wear Estee Lauder Cinnabar. And she was like, oh, it doesn't smell anything like Cinnabar. But it wasn't necessarily that it smelled like Cinnabar, it was just that it reminded me of what my mom smelled like when she wore Cinnabar, if that makes sense. Because that's what this girl, I think her name was Madeline, she smelled like what my mom smelled like when she wore Cinnabar. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, she told me, oh, it's Calvin Klein Euphoria. I ran. I'm telling you guys, I ran and picked up a bottle of it. I wish I still had my bottle of the original formulation, because this reformulated version is just not good. It just does not, it just does not have the depth that the original formulation had. And it's just not the same. I'm sick that I don't have my original bottle. But anyways, I loved it. I wore it interchangeably with Stella on and off for a couple of years, probably until about 2009. And then I moved on. But yeah, that is Calvin Klein Euphoria. I still love it to this day. I just wish I could find a bottle of the original formulation because it was a million times better than that watered down new formulation. Okay, also in that time, this was another Marshall's find. I started wearing La Vanilla Pure Vanilla. This is the fragrance that really got me into vanilla perfumes. After I started wearing this, I've been obsessed with vanilla perfumes ever since because this is one of the coziest, like warmest vanillas I've ever smelled. This is not a gourmand vanilla. This is a perfumey complex vanilla, and it is beautiful. And I found these in roller balls. So I had pure vanilla, I had vanilla coconut, and then I had maybe vanilla grapefruit. I had 3 of them. And again, these were kind of summer fragrances for me. They were like fun summer fragrances. So again, I would still wear Stella all the time, but these are perfumes that I was rotating in. Love them. So I still love them to this day. I will never be without a bottle of La Vanilla Pure Vanilla. I do have the vanilla grapefruit as well, and I love them. They're just some of my favorites. So anyways, that is La Vanilla Pure Vanilla. Okay, and then this is when I really kind of gave it a rest with Stella. We're coming into a time period where I went back to one signature and one standby that I would rotate in for like nights out, hanging out with friends, things like that. So at this time, I think it was about 2008. Yeah, it was 2008. I started wearing Dior Hypnotic Poison. I kind of got away from even paying attention to Dior perfumes for years, like years. And it was in 2008 that I don't even remember how I came across Hypnotic Poison, but I did. I smelled it. I absolutely fell in love. I immediately bought a bottle. And I started wearing it exclusively as my signature. I really wasn't, I had a bottle of Stella and I would wear it every now and then, but I was hooked on Hypnotic Poison and I wore this for years. I wore this until after my husband and I got married. I wore this exclusively until maybe like until about 2013. And then after 2013, it all went downhill from there. That's when I really started like branching out, getting discovery kits, collecting perfume. I never had another signature again after that. It just, like I said, it all went down after that. But this is the last true signature perfume that I ever had. And I wore it for years. I wore it from about 2008 till about 2013, so about 5 years. I wore this exclusively. I went through bottles of it. And I still love it to this day. I never had a bottle of the original formulation back then. It was not the crappy formulation that they have now because I can't stand that new formulation. And that's why I hunted down a bottle of the original. And I will never buy that new formulation. I bought a bottle of it and it was so disappointing. I decluttered it. But yeah, Hypnotic Poison was my jam for a long time. And then Escada Moon Sparkle this was another TJ Maxx find. And I wore this, just whenever. Beach trips, going out at night, anytime I wanted to smell like really fun and youthful, I wore this. This is like another sparkling berries and fruits. Really, really fun, really, really sickening sweet Escada perfume is what it is. This is the only perfume from Escada that I have truly, truly loved, and still to this day. There's one that my sweet friend Christine sent me. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is now, but she sent me a roller ball of it, and I actually really like that one. But there's just nothing like Moon Sparkle. This one is just so good. So yeah, this was, Hypnotic Poison was my ride or die, but Moon Sparkle was always, it was always there too, and I wore it quite a bit. So anyways, there's that one. Okay, and these next two, these are the last fragrances that I ever wore that were like even close to a signature. And even back then, I would not call either of these really signatures. I just had a winter where I was obsessed with both of these, and I wore them interchangeably pretty much all winter, and didn't wear much of anything else that winter. And I think that was the winter of 2016, I think. And it was both of these. So, and I think I picked them up right around the same time as well. So, Replica by the Fireplace. This one was quite new, if I remember correctly. I don't think that this had been out for a super long time, but I remember finding it in Sephora, falling in love with it. I never, it's funny because I never bought a full bottle of it. I would just go through travel sprays of it because at that point I was a perfume collector. I didn't want a full bottle because I don't know. I knew it wasn't gonna be a signature, and I thought for sure I'd get sick of it, you know, quickly, but I never did. I just was in love with this perfume. It's like all I wanted to smell like. You know when you go through stages where like all you want to eat is tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches or something for like a week? Well, and you try to make yourself eat other things, but really your heart just wants what it wants. That's what it was like with these perfumes. Like I would try to wear my other fragrances, but I would just keep putting this one on because that's just what I wanted to smell like. I didn't feel like anything else at that time. I love this. This is sweet. Chestnuts, vanilla. It's really, really beautiful. Smoky, a little bit smoky. I tried wearing, I think it's called Jazz Club. I tried wearing that for a little bit. I think I had I think I had a travel spray of that one as well. It was okay. I think I enjoyed the sweetness of By the Fireplace better. So there was that one, and then also Nirvana Bourbon. This was another one. I loved this one because this is a vanilla scent, but it's a really woody vanilla. And I hadn't ever really smelled anything quite like this until this perfume. And this is another one that between this and Replica, it's all I wore for like 3 months, 4 months, because I couldn't make myself wear anything else. I just loved the way they smelled on me. They're super cozy and comforting, and yeah, this one's sweet too. It's not nearly as sweet as Replica, or as By the Fireplace, but it's sweet, and it's just sweet and woody. I liked how it's a feminine scent, but it does lean just a touch masculine. And I always liked that about it. I don't know. I just loved these. So they weren't, I wouldn't say they were signatures because I only wore them for, exclusively for maybe 4 months. But I've always had a bottle of them in my collection since then because I love them. I decided that I needed full bottles of both of them, and after I'd been through roller balls of this and travel sprays of this. But yeah, those are the last perfumes that are like the closest thing to a signature that I ever had, and I still love them. But anyways, you guys, oh my gosh, I knew this was gonna be a long video because get me talking about my old perfume loves, and I can talk for hours. It's just fun, such a fun topic for me. But anyways, you guys, I do hope that you all enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.